المتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الحق المبين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله سيد ولد آدم أجمعين صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين على مر الأيام والليالي والشهور والسنين أما بعد. We continue Kitaab At-Tawheed, the chapter which comes in Kahana, those who claim to have knowledge of the unseen. And we say that the matter is still connected. Oh, I forgot to say the time. 6:50 p.m., 6:56 p.m. Philadelphia. Wednesday, October the 30th. Wow, we're in the month of Rabi' al-Awwal. The Rabi' al-Awwal has already started. Was this the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal? Yeah, we're on the second now. If not the third of Rabi' al-Awwal. I think we're on the third night. It says the second, but this is technically the third at the Maghrib. So we're in the third night of Rabi' al-Awwal. Wow. The year 1441 after the Hijrah of Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam. On the Hijri calendar, we're in the month of Rabi' al-Awwal. Rabi' al-Awwal, the third night. 1441 after the Hijrah of Mustafa. Wow, how time is just flying. Wednesday, October the 30th, 2019, in regard to the Gregorian calendar. And it's important to keep up with the dates, as you'll find that it's something that we should try to have more care for in these days, as a lot of people ignore the Hijri calendar, whereas a lot of us give precedence to the Gregorian calendar over the Hijri calendar. But it's something we should try to keep up with the dates and the times, inshallah, which is something that you'll find that Ahl Ilm does give some type of importance to its care, and for one to adhere to that. So we continue in the explanation, as we said, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa. As we're still in the chapter, Ba'ad ma ja'a fil kuhan wa nahwihim, the chapter which comes in those who claim to have knowledge of the unseen and anything similar to them. We started in the hadith, as some of the brothers said that I forgot, the narration of Abu Hurairah. Well, some of it, for the most part, is still the same, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwa. It's not that much of a difference. But it's no problem that we go over a little bit what the narration says. It says in the authority of Abu Hurairah, radiyallahu anh, whoever comes to Arraf or Kahin, and he believes to what he says, then he has disbelieved in what's been sent down upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The only thing that we'll extract from this narration here, if you look in your books, if you look in your books, that this narration, it mentions Kahin, or it mentions Arraf and Kahin together in the same narration. One narration has Arraf, and one narration has Kahin. Then this narration here gathers between both. Mentions a Arraf and a Kahin. Does everyone notice that? I'll say it again. If you look at the narrations before, if you look in your books, one narration mentions Arraf. Arraf is the one, you'll find that the meaning of it, one of the meanings of it is, Arraf is the one basically who claims knowledge, somewhat of the unseen, but it's other than that, it's more general. Arraf. Then you have a narration. If you go, matter of fact, let's just go back to your books, because I have a feeling that everybody needs to go. We got to go all the way back. Go to the beginning of the chapter. If you look in your books, go in the chapter. Fine. Notice the first narration that was mentioned, who comes to Arraf. Arraf. As we said, the demeanor Arraf here. Here, notice Arraf was mentioned what? By itself. Arraf was mentioned by itself. طيب. If Arraf is mentioned in the context by itself, Kahin is included. Is it clear what I'm saying? Kahin is included. What's a kahin? That's clear. The one who claims that knowledge on the scene. That's clear. The one who informs about the future. The one who's also an astrologer. The one who's draw lines on the ground, or reads palms, or reads lines on hands, to the end of it. That's a kahin. طيب. Kahin. طيب. Whoever comes to a arraf, that's what's the first hadith here. How do they translate it in your books, just out of curiosity? They translate it as fortune teller? Here's it says psychic. Is this the same copy? Oh, that's for me. Here they translate it as psychic. That's a different copy. They translate it as psychic. طيب. So that's the meaning of arraf. So arraf was mentioned by itself in the first hadith of the chapter. Is it clear what I'm saying? طيب. The next narration, if you flip your page and look to the second, if you need to flip your page, there's another narration that says whoever comes to a kahin. So arraf wasn't mentioned. If you look to the second narration, it says who comes to a kahin. Arraf wasn't mentioned. Kahin, of course, that's clear. That's what do they? How do they translate it in your books? Fortune teller. Soothsayer. Okay. Fortune teller. So the first one is a psychic, and the second one is a what? Fortune teller to the end of it.
The second hadith they translate as fortune teller.
So you have that, right, everyone? So that's the second hadith. طيب. You flip to the third hadith. This is the hadith of today. It gathers between both. Who comes to a arraf and who comes to a what? Kahin. So it's gathering between both. All right. I forgot to mention this. If you go to the second hadith, it's talking about kahin. Here, kahin. If you look in your books, the word arraf falls into it. Arraf falls into it. It's included. You understand? So if kahin is mentioned by itself, arraf is included. If arraf is mentioned by itself in the context, then what? Kahin is what? Included. طيب. Now that you see the third narration in your book, everyone, what do you find? So the third narration gathers between mentioning both of them in one context. So here, what do we say? Do they now have separate meanings? Here we say yes. Here we say yes. If they've been mentioned in the same context, such as the third hadith, third narration, then they what? Now they both take their own individual meaning. You understand? Now they separate. If you look at the third hadith, let's read together. On the authority of Abu Hurairah, who comes to a arraf or a kahin, and he believes in what he says, then he is disbelieving what has been revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? طيب. Here, notice in this narration, it mentions what? Both. It mentions a arraf and it mentions a kahin. If they are both mentioned in the context, then what? They separate and take their own individual meanings. طيب, what are those meanings? That's what we're going to talk about now. طيب. Now you even find the Ahl Ilm that they mention this regard. That since they've been mentioned both in the same context, then what? Now they separate. Similar to that is given as examples such as what, everyone? Islam and Iman. Islam and Iman. Also the Shahadatayn. Also the Shahadatayn. The two testimonies. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. طيب. You'll find narrations the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever testifies La ilaha illallah. Sometimes you'll find that Muhammad Rasulullah is not mentioned. So that suffices for someone's Islam? No. Here we say if the Shahada by itself is mentioned, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah is already what? Included. Is it clear what I'm saying? And sometimes you'll find text where it says Muhammad Rasulullah. Is La ilaha illallah alleviated? Is it negated? No. We say that Muhammad Rasulullah, La ilaha illallah is also, it's also included. You understand? So that's you'll find here when Ahl Ilm say that what? That if they're mentioned alone, these words in which we're using now, of course, if they're mentioned alone, then the other applies and it goes into it, meaning that they come together. If one is mentioned, both come together. If La ilaha illallah is mentioned by itself, then what? Muhammad Rasulullah is what? It's included. Muhammad Rasulullah is mentioned alone. What gathers into it? La ilaha illallah. You need to know that because some people read the text that says, well, here in this context it says just say La ilaha illallah. It's enough. Is that enough to validate one's Islam or not? Absolutely not. Muhammad Rasulullah is what? Included. Taib. Similar to that was what, everyone? Islam and Iman. If Islam is mentioned alone in the context, what's included into it? Iman is included. And if Iman is mentioned alone by itself, then what? Islam goes right into it. Taib. If they're mentioned separately, they separate. Meaning, the hadith of, which some of you are familiar with, Hadith Jibreel. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned Islam and he mentioned what? Iman. They both were mentioned in the same context, right? Based upon that, now they separate, and they take their own meanings. Such as, for example, the Prophet ﷺ said, what, everyone? Islam is what? أن تشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأن محمد رسول الله وتقيم الصلاة وتؤتي الزكاة وتصوم رمضان وتحج البيت. طيب. That Islam is what? To testify that none is the right to be worshipped except Allah. Muhammad is the message of Allah. To establish the salah, play zakat, to fast the month of Ramadan, to the end of it. طيب. Which Ahl Ilm say that's al-a'mal al-zahira. Those are the actions that are what? Al-a'mal al-zahira. They are what is done outwardly from the actions, which is the meaning of Islam. طيب. What is Iman? What the Prophet ﷺ say? تؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر وتؤمن بالقدر خيره وشره. Right? Prophet ﷺ, when Jibreel asks, what is Iman? That you believe in what? That you believe in Allah. And his what? And his messengers, and the angels, and the prophets, and the messengers, of course, and the books that were revealed previously, and that you believe in the divine decree, or the destiny, or the divine decree of Allah, the good of it and the evil of it. What's the actions of that, everyone? Of the what? Of what, Suhail? What type of actions is that? Exactly. So now the Iman is what? That you believe in Allah, and His angels, and His books, and the messengers, and the prophets, of course, and believe in the divine decree, the destiny, the good of it and the evil of it. Taib. That's the definition of what? Iman. Which is, what type of actions is that, everyone? What is that, everyone? Actions of the heart. Is it clear what I'm saying? Taib. So now in Hadith Jibreel, Islam was mentioned and Iman was what? Mentioned. Here in this context, due to the fact that they both were mentioned in one context, they what? They separated. They took their own meaning. Taib. The same principle we're applying here in your books. Taib. You find in the first hadith, what do you find, everyone? The first hadith, Arraf was mentioned. Second hadith, Kahin was mentioned. Third hadith, Arraf and Kahin were mentioned. Taib. So how do we apply this? Now, first, as far as the first narration, what do we say? The first narration in the book. Ahsant. Arraf, Kahin falls into what? Arraf. They both now are included. Since one was mentioned, the other one what? Falls into it, meaning that they gather together. Taib. Kahin in the second hadith was mentioned. Second hadith, Kahin was what? Mentioned. What's included into it now? Arraf. Taib. Third hadith. Kahin and Arraf were both mentioned. What's happening here now? Now they separate. Now you understand, everyone? Is it clear what I'm saying now? Type. So what's their own individual meaning here? Due to the fact that we said they separated. Type. You'll find that Ahl Ilm, from them is the great Imam Sheikh Salih Fawzan, Hafidhullah wa ra'ah wa tallallah fi umrihi bil a'mal as-salihah. You'll find that he mentions, it says that the meaning of kahin here in this context, where they both were mentioned, they separate, take their own meanings. He said that the meaning of kahin is the one who informs about al-mughayyabat, is the one who informs about affairs of the unseen because of what the devils inspire them, or what they cast to them, or what they give them. I'll say it again. Kahin means here. Are you writing this down, or are you just looking in your book? Kahin means, the meaning of kahin here in this context is the one who informs about affairs of the unseen because of what the shayateen inspire them. I need to use the word inspire for some of the kids. What's the easier word? No. I'm looking for an easier word. So of what the shayateen give them. What would they? No, not motivate. What they give them. What the shayateen give them of information. Provided them of information. I take consideration the kids.
What they show them, what the shayateen show them, and what they tell them.
What they tell them. I would say what the shayateen tell them. But I'll say it again. The meaning of kahin is what? They inform. The kahin is the one who informs about affairs of the unseen because of what the shayateen, of what the devils inform them. What's the meaning of devils here, everyone? Is it the white man? No, it is not. It means the unseen devils. Is it clear what I'm saying? The unseen devils. Not the white man. The white man isn't the devil. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? White man is not the devil. Tafadal. Rather, shaitan can come in the form of any human being, whether it be black, white, whatever type of nationality. It could be Arab, non-Arab, it could be white, it could be black, it could be Chinese, it could come in any form of any color and race. You understand? Shayateen out there who come in any form. Doesn't matter, they're not specifically white. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So I'll say it again. The word kahin, that it means of those who inform of affairs of the unseen because of what the devils, the unseen devils, inform them. Is it clear what I'm saying? Jayyid. So that's the meaning of kahin here in this context. طيب. What's the meaning of arraf now? Arraf, the meaning of arraf is the one who informs about affairs of the unseen. Let me finish it. One who informs about the affairs of the unseen. You have to have patience with kids, boy, I tell you. You have about the affairs of the unseen. However, what's the difference? However, they do it in a manner, what they call in Arabic, hads, with takhmeen, wal khat fil ard, wa ma ashbaha dhalik. He says, because of guessing, conjecture, assumption, and drawing on the ground, or drawing lines on the ground, or anything similar to that. So you find that arraf is a little bit more what? General. It's a little bit more general. It's a little bit more broad. In regards to kahin is a little bit more specific. Here in this context. But however, like we said, if one was mentioned alone, then both are included. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? No, I'm still here.
So you said it inspires them to do what?
No, based upon what the unseen devils inform them. What the unseen devils inform the kahin. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب. So the qaida is, if one is mentioned, then what? the other one is applied, or the other one is included. And if another one is mentioned by itself or alone, then what? The other one is included. Is it clear? طيب. So based upon this hadith, let's apply this now. It's not permissible to you to go to Arraf and he tell you something in your future based upon maybe it's conjecture, maybe he's assuming, maybe it's a prediction in his mind, and which he thinks is supposed to be what? True. It's not permissible to do this. These are affairs of the unseen. Whether or not shayateen is telling you or not, it's not permissible to tell anyone of what's in their future based upon whether it be inspiration or information from the unseen devils, or what you bring of assumptions and conjecture and guessing. You understand, everyone? Unless it's based upon advice of certain events that have already taken place, and you know the person. That's not now that goes outside of what they call kharij an nitaq al-ghayb. That has nothing to do with the unseen. That has to do with you just knowing the person. Like, I just know you, you're my friend. I don't think that you should do such and such based upon the fact that you fell into this mistake before. That's not guessing. That's advice based upon experience and based upon what you've seen and based upon what? Based upon what you witnessed and what you know of the person. That's not the affairs of the. We're talking about events that you're saying in your mind that I read of something pertaining to the unseen. That's what the whole topic is about. Because I want to make that clear. I don't want anyone to now get the wrong understanding or the incorrect understanding that we're talking about. For example, someone giving you advice and they say, I don't think you should do such and such. I don't think that's going to be something beneficial for your future based upon such and such has taken place in your life prior. Is that clear what I'm saying, everyone? That's not affairs of the unseen. Rather, that's commanded that you do that. In a lot of cases, especially if you want good for the person, you're being sincere and giving them sincere advice. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? I want that to be clear. I don't want nobody walking out the room, well, you giving me advice? Akhi, you don't know the unseen. What are you talking about? You understand? That's absolute nonsense. You're just doing that. You're talking about something that has happened or prior, or maybe it's something of experience you might have embarked upon. And you're saying, listen, I don't think that's good, or you dealing with that person is good, or that you're dealing with such and such world, or be careful because of this, because I did this, and what happened to me was this, and maybe you need to watch such and such, because this might get you in a jam, or it might affect you, or what have you, to the end of it. That has nothing to do with the unseen. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? No, I'm still here.
So, Al-Raw, in the same context of attacking, even though those like implied, it's like when someone is guessing the future.
Like they're guessing something, or assuming, based upon something of this pertaining to the unseen in your mind. Like I'm just saying right now, in my mind right now, let me read your mind. You understand?
Right, it's something a little bit of satanic or something.
All of it is.
Yeah.
All of it is. You understand?
Yeah.
Right now, you sit in front of me, so let me read your mind right quick. Let me think what you're thinking. You understand? Is it clear what I'm saying? G. You want to call, is it there? Is it now? Okay. We got to call you there. Takhmeen in Arabic, yukhammin means to guess. Yukhammin, khammana yukhamminu means to guess. Hads also, hadasa yahdisu. That means dhann. It means to assume. It means to assume. Hadasa means to assume. Hadasa, yahdisu. Hads means like to assume. It also means to guess too. It means dhann. It means to think or means to assume. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. الله أكبر الله أكبر. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمودا الوسيلة والفضيلة وبعث مقام محمود الذي وعدته. طيب, if you look in the books, everyone, notice that it says at the end of the hadith, because we don't have to cover the rest of the hadith due to the fact that we already explained it before. The rest of the hadith is clear. Whoever comes to Arraf or Kahin, فَصَدَّقَهُ بِمَا يَقُولُ. Also, I wanted to add on everyone, that it's not from the unseen based upon of different symptoms that one might be able to read and say such and such a sickness, or you might have a sickness due to these symptoms. You understand? Or for example, even of sometimes of what people are able to tell whether or not you're having a male or female because of certain cravings that a woman might have. That was back in the times of old, that was something that was utilized. Sometimes they would say, for example, a woman craves certain food, or her moods might be in a certain way, that there might be a male or might be a female. That's not from the affairs of the unseen. You understand, everyone? It's based upon certain indications and certain things that are utilized medically in order to tell a person what's going on in their body. That's not the affairs of the unseen. I want to make that clear, because certain people come with questions and I'm like, brothers, don't get the affairs twisted. Like, for example, brother said to a saying of wearing of certain medical protection gear or equipment, or, for example, an ankle pad and is worn around the body, or something that's utilized medically to cure an ailment. That has nothing to do with the unseen. You understand, everyone? I don't want everyone to start mixing these affairs up with things that are permissible. You understand? And these affairs that are utilized, and there's nothing wrong with them. You understand? So I want to make sure that everyone understands this properly. We're talking about, and I think it's clear, when you see a person that's a psychic, fortune teller, all these matters, they draw in your hand, they say this, for example, based upon this line on your hand, this means usually that your life is going to be chaotic when you turn 43, and when you turn 50, more than likely you're going to get divorced. And if you understand, those are the affairs that are impermissible. You understand? Is it clear what I'm saying? That's what we're speaking about. طيب. So based upon this hadith, notice it says who comes to a Arraf, who comes to a Kahin. طيب. Notice it says in the hadith, you read your books, I mean, what does it say? لِأَبِي يَعْلَى الْمَوْصِلِي. What he mentioned as بِسَنَدٍ جَيِّد, with a sound chain on the authority of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was his whole name. His whole name was a little bit long. Abdullah ibn Ghafil. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud ibn Ghafil al-Hudhali. Al-Hudhali. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud ibn Ghafil al-Hudhali. The Prophet ﷺ كان يكنيه ابن أم عبد. I don't want to talk about too much of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud right now. I think his fada'il لا تعد ولا تحصى. But anyway, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud ibn Ghafil al-Hudhali. For what comes to my mind right now, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud that was mentioned, it said that there was narration of what was mawquf. What do we say the meaning of mawquf is? I mentioned this to you last week. It says of your books that it was related mawquf. What is the meaning of mawquf? I mentioned this to you guys.
There's a separation between the Sahabi and the Tabi'in.
Ahsant. Abdul Batin, that's exactly what we said. The meaning of mawquf, that it was a narration related by a Sahabi. What do we say marfu' means? Narration of the Prophet ﷺ. What do we say maqtu' means? Tabi'i. It's a narration of a tabi'i. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? طيب, what does it say here? That was related? What does it say in your book? But what was the exact word you used, if you don't mind me asking? What does it say in your books? They said that what was related by Abu Ya'la al-Mawsili upon Abdullah ibn Mas'ud mawquf. How do they translate it in your books? No, that's Najin Jayyid, huh? So they say it's mawquf. They say mawquf? Untraceable. That's a terrible translation. Mawquf means that it was a narration of a sahabi. Just write that. That's a terrible translation if it's translated like that. If it's translated like that. Untraceable? That's wrong. Untraceable mawquf means that it was what? A narration of a sahabi, of a companion. This is how you would say it. Huh?
What's the difference between marfu' and marfu' then?
Marfu' is just a narration of the Prophet ﷺ.
Oh, so that's it? Like, it's a complete chain?
It's a complete chain that now the Prophet ﷺ said such and such. Or, how are you going to give me? Marfu' breaks down into a lot of categories. You have marfu' sarih and you have marfu' hukm. Marfu' sarihan and marfu' hukman. You got to get me into all this right now. This is not the time. Marfu' sarih. You have something that's marfu' and is frank by the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning, the Prophet ﷺ says such a The Prophet ﷺ says such and such. The Prophet ﷺ commanded such and such. The Prophet ﷺ forbade such and such. The Prophet ﷺ, I heard the message of Allah say such and such. That's marfu' sarih. طيب. Now you have marfu' hukman. And it's hukm. Such as, we used to do such and such during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Quran was being revealed, and he would not prohibit us. That's not marfu' sarih. That's marfu' and it's what? It's hukm. Or we used to do such and such during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Quran was being revealed, and nothing would prohibit us. Nothing. طيب. That's called marfu' and it's what? And it's ruling. Why? Because the revelation was still being revealed. He didn't die yet, alayhi salatu wassalam. So due to the fact that the message of Allah was still alive and revelation was still being revealed, if it was an affair that Allah was displeased with, something would have been what? Revealed regarding it. Due to the fact that certain people would say, oh, the message of Allah didn't see it. That's not, no, but we say Allah what? Allah sees it. Allah sees it. And there's been numerous narrations in Kitaab and Sunnah where you'll find that the message of Allah, he will be somewhere and something will be happening in another what? Another land. And Allah reveals something pertaining to it. You understand? Or something was happening far, remote distance. Something was taking place. That truly happened. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it. غُلِبَتِ الرُّومِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about when Rome was what? Rome was defeated. That took place where, everyone? A whole other land. And Allah revealed something what? Concerning it. And when you look to it, it truly what? Truly happened. Right? It's a lot of events take place. Any rate, when you see narrations such as from the Sahaba who say, we used to do such and such during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, is that marfu' sarih? Is that marfu' as far as it being frank? No, it isn't. Because the Prophet didn't say the message of Allah said such and such, or the message of Allah commanded such and such, or the message of Allah prohibited such and such. Those type of rafi', or those what they call marfu', that's directly connected with the message of Allah saying or commanding or what have you, that's frank. But when the Sahaba say that we used to do such and such during the time of the message of Allah, and nothing, when we would not be prohibited from doing it, or the Quran was being revealed and nothing would prohibit us, that's still marfu'. Why? Because the message of Allah was still what? Alive. And we know as long as the message of Allah was still alive, revelation was still what? The door of revelation was still open. Until he finally died, alayhi salatu wassalam. طيب. After that now, that's what you call marfu' as far as in his what? In his ruling. You're number 2. طيب. Once the message of Allah has passed, now you have narrations where the Sahaba has spoke. You understand? Some narrations that when the Sahaba speak and they saying it from themselves, that is called mawquf. When they're saying it. It's not the message of Allah saying it, they're saying it. That's called mawquf. It's a narration of a sahabi. You get it? However, certain times, in which he is here in this book here, sometimes, even though it's mawquf, it still could take the hukm of it being marfu'. You understand? It could take the hukm of being marfu'. Why? Anytime a sahabi, why you keep going? What are you doing? I thought I had a tissue in my pocket. No, that's a tea bag. Hurry up, Suhail, because I don't want you to ask me the questions. Oh, what did you say? طيب. بسرعة. عجل. Hurry up. طيب. A mawquf, the origin of mawquf, that it could be what? The origin, we're going to talk about the origin of a mawquf. The meaning of mawquf is a statement of a sahabi. That's it. All right? طيب. Extra details. This is a side benefit. Sometimes mawquf can take the ruling of it being marfu'. It could be connected with the Prophet ﷺ. Why? If you look to a narration of a sahabi, if they talk about affairs of the unseen, meaning affairs that are talking about, for example, the hereafter, that Jannah is this distance, or that Jannah, or what was going to happen on the day of resurrection, or that the shayateen do such and such on a daily basis. Those affairs, you'll find the qaida is هذا من الأمور التي لا يجوز الرأي فيها. They're from the affairs. It's not permissible for anyone to talk about their own opinions in. It's from the affairs of what? The unseen, which to let you know, there's no one from the Sahaba that will ever talk about the affairs of the unseen unless they attain that understanding from who? From the Prophet ﷺ. The Sahaba would never talk about the affairs of the unseen unless they knew they had totally 100% attained that narration or that understanding from the Prophet ﷺ. Except that you'll find that other Sahaba never talk about the affairs of the unseen with their own opinion. Ever. It's not permissible. Is it clear? So if you find a Sahabi mentioned, it says, for example, just like Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, that the distance between one heaven to the second heaven is 500 years. طيب. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, we say that's mawquf. However, it takes the ruling as what? Marfu'. Why? Because Abdullah ibn Mas'ud would never talk about these affairs of the unseen from his own opinion or his own guess or his own assumption. That understanding was taken from the Messenger of Allah. He would never talk about that affair unless we knew. He had attained, rather we do, understand that he totally attained that understanding from the Messenger of Allah. Because those affairs pertaining to the unseen is not permissible for anyone to give their opinion in it. And the Sahaba never gave their opinion in these type of affairs whatsoever. So when you see these narrations, if the chain is authentic, and it's talking about these type of matters, because they're the most sacred of affairs, right everyone? The affairs of the unseen, especially affairs speaking about Allah, or the affairs talking about Allah and its characteristics, and affairs talking about paradise and hellfire, affairs talking about the grave and the life of the grave, or the life of the unseen pertaining to the shayateen and the angels. All these affairs are very what? Sacred. And it's not permissible for anyone to guess in them or speak from their own opinion in them, right? If you see a Sahabi talking about these affairs, you'll find it takes a hukm. If the chain is authentic, of course, and is connected, such as this one here in your book, it takes the ruling of what? Of it being marfu'. You understand? These type of qawa'id, you're going to need them. Because if you read tafsir, you read Abdullah bin Abbas says such and such about affairs of the unseen. Well, a person would say, oh, that's only mawquf. No, akhi, if he's talking about the affairs of the unseen and the isnad is connected, that takes a hukm of a hadith. Because Abdullah bin Abbas would never talk about these affairs of the unseen except that he what? He got it from the Prophet ﷺ. Is it clear? It's the reason why I'm teaching you guys the keys. Then you guys are able to build upon it. You understand? So now when you read tafsir, you're able to attain the full benefit because now you have the foundation. Now you can build upon what you know. Is it clear? طيب. So now this hadith here, what does it say in your books? It's what? No. Mawquf. It says here it's mawquf.
One question before you move.
تفضل.
You take it as hujjah when it's relating to affairs of the unseen.
الأمور الآن تتكلم في حجية الصحابة وقول الصحابي هذا مجال آخر. الحمد لله يعطيكم الله الصحة بعضكم. طيب. Brother asks us whether or not it's a sahabi, if a statement, is it considered a proof all the time? That is another 20-minute, maybe half an hour answer. For now, we just talk about mawquf and marfu'. But as they call the science hujjiyat qawl al-sahaba, that is a whole another topic in itself. That's a whole other topic. There's little conditions to it. We'll talk about that later. Sometimes it can be, and a lot of times it can, and sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it isn't. So, you understand what I'm saying, everyone? Sometimes it can, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Especially if a particular text did not reach that sahabi to show that particular affair that he spoke about in regards to the religion, that there's another text that did not reach him. And that text, that particular sahaba knew about it, but it didn't reach the old one when he gave a particular fatwa in the issue. Here we say the statement of what? That sahaba reached the last knowledge, reached him last from the Prophet ﷺ, abrogated that other what? That statement of that sahabi. Here in this particular instance is not a hujjah. It's not accepted. Even though that particular sahabi still will be rewarded for his ijtihad. Is it clear what I'm saying? We'll talk about this later. That's a whole other statement. All I want to confuse everyone. All I want everyone right now is to know that mawquf means, what does mawquf mean? Just stick to it's a statement of sahaba. Just keep it simple. طيب. Here in this narration, if you look in your books, right, everyone? If you look in your books, it says on the authority Abu Ya'la al-Mawsili عن ابن مسعود مثله عن ابن مسعود عفوا مثله موقوفا موقوف. طيب. Here it says موقوف. So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, they're saying that what is more correct and authentic, that is mawquf. That's basically a statement of sahabi. Here in this particular hadith, where it gathers between the words arraf and what? Kahin. However, we still say that the narrations that preceded in the first part of your books, what does that necessitate, everyone? What will we gather from that? That this narration, even though it's mawquf, it still takes the what? Marfu'. It's marfu'. Why? Because of the other narrations that was what? Mentioned. Is it clear? We have the hadith, which is a Sahih Muslim.
I don't think I have the hadith in my book. I don't know if I can find that.
What's hadith?
It's right in between. It's before the last one. It's real small.
Is it in your books or not? طيب, you need sabr. Patience sometimes. Sabr.
Whoever comes to a psychic. Yeah, in the book it says, Abu Ya'la, reports a similar, all right, sorry, it's in English.
You got it. Brothers, inshallah, if you have your books, don't just holler in the middle of the class. I have the Arabic, I don't have the English. You just ask one of your brothers, ask your neighbor. So you don't disturb the class. Just ask the neighbor. Say, I don't whisper to your neighbor, I can't find it. But don't stop the whole class. I can't find it, it's not in my book. Brother, you stop the whole class. You understand, everyone? طيب. So now we say Abu Ya'la bi sanadin jayyid. It says on the authority Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, similar to that. It's mawquf. طيب, so we said this narration is marfu'. Based upon what, everyone? Based upon the previous narrations. So these narrations strongly support that this narration is what? It's marfu'. It's marfu'. I'll read quickly what the great Imam Ibn Uthaymin did he mention in this regard. What he says. وجاء المؤلف في هذا الحديث مع أن الأول والثانية مغنيان عنه لأن كثرة الأدلة مما يقوي المدلول. رأيت لو أن رجلا أخبرك بخبر وثقت به ثم جاء آخر وأخبرك به ازددت توثقا وقوة. ولهذا فرق الشارع بين أن يأتي الإنسان بشاهد واحد أو شاهدين. وظاهر صنيع المؤلف أن حديث أبي هريرة من أتى عرافا أو كاهنا أو أنه موقوف لأنه قال عن أبي هريرة، ولكنه لما قال في الذي بعته موقوفا ترجح عندنا أن الحديث الذي قبله مرفوع. مرفوع أي إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. He's just saying basically what we just said. He said that the author, who's the great Imam, Sheikh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, in this hadith, he said he brought this hadith here on Abu Hurairah, on Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. The narration of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud here, everyone, was similar to this one of Abu Hurairah. So basically he's just saying, he said he brought it here even though the first hadith and the second hadith basically alleviated the need for this third one. Right? It says, مُغْنِيَانِ عَنْ. It was said due to the fact that the majority of the evidences of what strengthens what's been indicated, meaning of what is the impermissibility of going to the Arraf and the Kahin, of course. He says, however, he says here, what is the reason why he done this? He says, due to the fact he wanted to bring numerous evidences, even though the previous ones established the foundation, but the third one, when you bring a statement of a Sahabi that's also authenticated, it's as if you're bringing icing on the cake, basically. You made the cake, but you want to now put the what? The icing on it. So that's basically what he did here. Because a person would say, all right, well, he had to brought the hadith from Sahih Muslim, that's all authentic, and he brought the other one, that's all we need. Sometimes he'll bring narrations that will what? Bring it how the Sahaba understood it, because that's also important. How did the companions understand the what? These narrations. They understood it the same way. So that brings more emphasis of what these narrations point towards, what they indicate. You understand? Especially our religion, of what differentiates between us and the deviant sects, is that we understand a religion based upon the what? The understanding of the companions. Right or wrong, everyone? Because the majority of the deviant sects out there, they deviate because of this point here. This right here. You'll find that they understand Islam according to their own understanding or understanding of someone who deviated. You understand? And that's what makes a deviant sect. That's from the origin of the usul of bid'ah. That's from the foundations of innovations. And deviant sects is because they went outside the understanding of the Sahaba. However, if you notice the great Imam, Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, here in this particular narration, here he brought the understanding of the Sahabi. So it can strengthen what he's saying here. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why he brought this narration. He said, now he says, when you bring, and this is what the great Imam Ibn Uthaymin mentioned, he says, do you not see if a man informed you about some type of information and you found him to be reliable, you trusted him. Then another person came to you, and then the person that heard from that person came to you, gave you the same understanding. He said, once all these different types come, you increase in more what? Trustworthiness and in it being acceptable. You see how strong it is and what? And how reliable that person is, of course. But also you see that the indication increases you more clarity. And in more what? And more reliability. And these affairs is correct. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Clear. So that's all I wanted to stop here. So I guess we'll stop here, inshallah. We'll stop here because we're going to pray. Any questions about the lesson, anyone? I had to go all of his 10 for 20 minutes Just let's get. Just go back to the recording. استمع إلى المسجل. ها. Say it again. موقوف. عراف. ما أعراف. عراف. أعراف means plains, like hills.
I know how to pronounce it.
I can't roll my R.
It's not A'raf means hills, high plains. وعلى الأعراف رجال يعرفون كلا بسيماهم. تفضل. Say it again. Hads. You're talking about the word hads. Hads means assumption. Means to assume.
Oh yeah, so it's like the same thing as A'raf.
That's what Arraf means. From the meanings of Arraf, if they're both mentioned in the same context. It could mean assumption, conjecture, thinking, a guess. It could all mean the same thing. Takhmeen, hads, it all means like guessing, assumption. They all mean the same thing. تفضل. Su'u dhan means to have bad thoughts. Su'u dhan is to have bad thoughts. No, that's not a nightmare. Bad thoughts is to think something bad about a person, and you have no evidence for it. Huh? You have no evidence for it. We live in these days at times where that is real rampant around the Muslims, especially from the common folk in our societies. That a lot of us, these texts that we read, it's hard for us to apply it. You know, as far as thinking of having good thoughts about people, good thoughts about ourselves and about our families and about our kids, certain things that come up, good thoughts and having bad thoughts, it's things that we have to work on with each other, especially how we deal with one another. Because we think the worst of each other all the time. We always have the worst assumptions and drawing up the worst conclusions about everything a person does. I know you did that on purpose. Huh? That's called su'u dhan. That's called having, I know you and I know you did that on purpose. Huh? You know you saw me. You know you saw. If a person says to you, I saw it, I didn't see you. Wallah, I didn't see you. My mind. How many of us, how many of us have a person that we know stand in front of our mind and we'll be thinking about deep in our thought, that somebody we know right in front of us, stand in front of us, and we'll really be in the mix of our own minds and won't say nothing. And they'd be like, hello, I'm right here. Oh, dag, I didn't. You understand? That's why here you need to apply having good thoughts for people. You know, this dunya that we may have lived in is so stressful now because of all of the selfishness and the evil of people and the wickedness of each other and the treatment of people. It busies a lot of our minds. And sometimes we'd be wrapped up in our own problems and our own stress. Somebody would be directly in front of us, and we'll know them, but we won't say nothing because we're just in your mind, the world that you're in, you're just thinking about it. But you didn't, on purpose, ignore the person that you know in front of you. You understand, everyone? Those things, that's when it comes to application, what they call having good thoughts, which is, it has our place in our religion, but a lot of us have problems with applying it on each other. You understand what I'm saying? We always thinking the worst of one another. I know you did that on purpose. I know you saw me. You know you saw me. No, listen, I know how you are. Don't try to play games. You know you. Akhi, listen, if a person tells you, I didn't see you, I didn't see you. You only go based upon what is apparent. Now, if it's an affair that's been established, now you have clear evidence to back it up or substantiate it. That's something different. But you cannot go that and keep going around doing that. I know you did this. I know you did that on purpose. I know. You know? How you know I did that on purpose? You understand? You never know these affairs or whether or not a person did it or not unless you investigate, you ask, you try to now ask questions of certain things. But like I said, as far as how we deal with each other, we really have to start knowing how to apply having good thoughts for one another. And we're talking about those who deserve the good thoughts for each other is no more than the Salafis and Ahlul Sunnah. Everybody always having bad thoughts about each other, and bad thoughts about the du'at, bad thoughts about the community, bad thoughts about the administration, bad thoughts about the imam, bad thoughts to tear the whole community down. Because nobody has any reliability with anyone anymore. Like I say here, kids here in front of my class now, they do certain things. I'll never, for example, I asked me, my pen just ran out. I'm not going, you did that to disturb my class on purpose. People will say, you all right? He's just a child. Oh, they do things. You have to have patience. Gave him a pencil, go to my class, keep it moving. Having good thoughts for him. You understand? This is how we have to do. You understand? The only thing now you have something of what is an exception to the rule, I'll talk about that later. With the qawl of Umar al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, من أورد نفسه موارد التهم فلا يلومن من أساء بك الظن. That narration, I'll talk about it later. There's one exception to the rule, but the origin is that you have good thoughts for your brothers and your sisters and the people. There is an exception, which I'll talk about later. You understand? من أورد نفسه موارد التهم فلا يلومن من أساء بك الظن. That's the exception. That's the istithna. I'll talk about that later. طيب تفضل.
If I may ask a question about the prayer.
No, تفضل.
If you're in the middle of prayer, what's the correct opinion if you what you will do right past the day?
You will lead.
So like you already like in Tashahhud the last one, you pass gas before you stand up.
You have to repeat the whole salat over.
No.
You have to repeat the salat over. That narration that's in Bulugh al-Maram, Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar mentioned that to critique it. There's a narration that's in Bulugh al-Maram where a person that leaves the salat, they come back, they can resume where they left off. That narration is da'if. It's da'if. Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar, he only brought it to critique it. He brought it in his book to show the people that it's weak. It has no basis, it has no foundation. So if a person was at the end of the salat, he's in his tashahhud, he breaks his wudu, he has to pray the whole prayer over again. From beginning to the end. Tafadal.
Wait, so what if the person holds the fart and it's not loud?
Say pass gas. See, so now I have to apply what we learned. So now I'm going to say, man, you said that on purpose? Well, I'm going to have good thoughts for him and say that I have to teach him. Huh? Now a person who's a cultivator will be patient and just say pass wind, pass gas. Now, a person that has bad thoughts will say, what will we say? And that was ignorant. Why would you say that? You understand, everyone? That's bad tarbiyah. You understand? Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Even if he was trying to be funny, you still have to be what? You still have to have patience. Is it good? Hold on, let me answer this question. You said if a person pass wind or pass gas, if you hold it, you don't leave the salat. Don't leave the salat unless you smell something or hear something. All right? That's it. Fun.
The last part, like, if I come in, y'all like in the third rakat, do I get the reward for praying in July, or no? I just get the intention to pray like
Third rakat for Jumu'ah?
praying in congregational.
Let you leave your father alone. Fun.
Praying congregational prayer, but I come in the third rakat of Isha.
Okay.
Do I still get
The reward from Jama'ah? Absolutely, you caught it. Caught the Jama'ah.
I was reading that recently, it said,
You caught it.
no.
You caught the Jama'ah. Just finish with what you left. I mean, of course, you're not going to get the reward for the person who prayed, started, was there from the beginning, prayed in the first rank. That's different. But you caught the reward, inshallah, for the Jama'ah, for the congregation.
So what was the narration, can you explain what he said that, one of the Sahabi came and he caught the prayer after you already takbir, and after he finished, he told him, don't do that again.
You talk about Hadith al-Musif Salatahu, the one who prayed badly? You talking about that one?
I think so when he caught the prayer after he already takbir, he went down and recruit, and then after the prayer was over, he told him to do it again.
You have to bring the narration. I'm not. Oh, he didn't make takbir al-intiqal, or the takbir al-ihram, or the takbir al-intiqal. if it's the narration that's speaking about when you come into salat, basically, and I have to check to see what narration he's speaking about. That when you come to salat, people are in the ruku'. You have to make two takbirat al-ihram to enter inside the salat, and takbirat al-intiqal. Takbirah of now changing the movement. You have to make both. You understand?
No.
So if you do that, that's the correct way to do the prayer. If the people were in ruku' or in sujood. If you caught the ruku', that means you caught the rak'ah. You don't have to repeat that. If they're in sujood, you missed the what? The rak'ah. You have to pray the whole rak'ah. Is it clear? So you have to make takbirat al-ihram and takbirat to what they call intiqal. Intiqal means to change the movement. You guys are starting to get a salat, Kitaab, At-Tawheed. Now you're going to be a fiqh. Last question, brothers, because we got to pray.
Do you do that?
فتحتم الباب في الفقهيات.
Do the takbir while you changing the position or once you reach the position?
Certain narrations, if it's ruku', you could come in to the prayer while you're. Oh man! There's a narration of Shaykh al-Albani. He said that the Sahabi, if they was in ruku', that a person can walk while they're walking, takbirat al-ihram, make takbirat al-intiqal, and still walk into the rank. And go like that. Those narrations are authentic. What they walked into they weren't totally in the rank yet. They made takbirat al-ihram and takbirat al-intiqal while they were walking in the rank and bowing. And they caught it. That was considered catching the rak'ah. Not a whole far way back. You're close to the rank. So I don't want nobody to think you're coming from there and you're coming from the shoe. And then they bowing across the room. No, they were close to the rank. There was just a little far away from the rank. Takbirat al-ihram, takbirat al-intiqal, and then they walked in to catch the ruku'. Is it clear what I'm saying? I have to make that clear. Is it clear, everyone? You'll find those narrations. All right? We'll stop here. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.